your $5 ass down before I make change.
I ain't like that.
Cole, you stupid.
Biggie. Educated. What's up? What's up?
Cole, if you don't get your hand up.
Ladies and gentlemen, the most exciting stage show you've ever witnessed, appearing
with Majik Juan.
Hi, this is the MJ, the D.O.A. We are in the mix with the name Juan, Majik Juan. So you see this person right over here to my right hand side and over there to your left. So if you was an 80s baby or an 80s kid, guess what? I'm going to talk to you about some of the things that you will be witnessing on this show. Now, we're going to be saying some filth up in here. And if you was a 90s baby or a 90s kid, guess what? What's up? What's up? What's up? All right. So, you seen this man as Walter Cockroach Bradley and also Cole Brown from Martin. Ladies and gentlemen, up here at the ACT Atlanta Comedy Theater, we got Mr. CAP, a.k.a. from the ACT, Mr. Carl Anthony Payne.
That was a beautiful introduction.
That was a beautiful introduction.
I had to get you to come out there and introduce me on the stage.
All right, we'll do that. We'll talk about that. So first off, how you doing, sir?
Good, sir.
No problem, man. So a lot of people don't know that you was actually born in South Carolina.
Indeed.
Yes. So you was born in Clifton, South Carolina, right?
Yep.
And you grew up in Harlem.
Yep.
So how was your experience in comedy, and who influenced you?
Definitely Bill Cosby.
Okay.
Eddie Murphy for sure.
Cool.
You know. But you know what? I also used to listen to a lot of white comedians too, like Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I listened to them all.
Okay.
Yeah, those were some of my early influences.
Okay. So how did you get the role of Walter Cockroach Bradley from the Cosby Show?
Auditioned for it, man.
Okay.
I was, a young up and coming actor, I guess back then.
Okay.
Finding my way, so to speak.
Sure.
I actually auditioned for the role of Theo, and they flew me to California, and it really came down between me and Malcolm for the role. He got the role, but Bill was like, I'm gonna keep you in mind for some things. I'm gonna keep bringing you back. Don't let it discourage you, because it's not always because you're not funny or talented.
Okay.
It could be you're not tall enough.
Okay.
You're not short enough. You're not dark enough. There's a lot of different things because he was putting together his family structure, and he knew what he wanted. As far as that. And matter of fact, Jaleel White, who played Urkel, was actually up for the role of Rudy.
Rudy.
Yeah. So because Rudy was gonna be a boy, but you never know. Long story short, he just kept bringing me back.
Okay.
And I kept auditioning, and I kept not taking no for an answer.
Okay. Cool. Cool. So how was it like on set actually working with people like Felicia Rashad and also Malcolm Jamal Warner, Lisa Bonet? How was it working on that? And also, why were you cut after 12 seasons?
What was it like working with them? Let me answer your first question. First question, it was weird at first because I, like a lot of other people who don't know anything about or didn't know anything about television or behind the scenes stuff, I thought they filmed in a real house. I thought it was like a lot, they were a family of me, but realistically, it was a job and it was a set and they yelled cut, everybody go their separate ways, you know. And that's when I was like, oh, this is work. This is it's
a job.
Yeah. So, but it was cool because, that's where I got my first tutelage with regards to this industry. I used to see all the greats come through there, and I would just soak up all the knowledge.
True that.
You know what I'm saying? As far as when I left, it was mutual. It was, I actually it wasn't mutual, but it had to happen the way it happened.
True that.
It didn't have to happen, but it had to happen. So, when I say it had to happen, meaning there's certain things that happen that make you who you are.
Okay.
You look at them as bad, or you look at them as being rejected when you're just being redirected.
True that.
So sometimes we think we're being put out or taken away from a situation when we're really just being put in a different situation to make room. So that's what I mean.
True that.
By that. The truth of the matter is, it was a misunderstanding. It was a misunderstanding, and not on my part at all.
So it was up on upper management part, aka Mr. Cosby, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. And speaking of Mr. Cosby, how did you feel about when he was convicted, giving quaaludes to all 50 of those victims? And do you think that justice was served? Because it was a tragedy, because you had American's dad right there, and to find out that he did all those horrible things, what was your feelings about that?
I mean, it's all speculation.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? We don't know what happened with whom.
Okay.
Whatever he admitted to, he admitted to.
Okay.
But put yourself in certain positions,
True
regardless. You become your target already. So.
True that.
I feel like. It's one of those things where I feel like I hate that it casts a bad light on the legacy. That's what I don't like, because at the end of the day, you can't take away what was already done as far as legacy.
True that.
The accomplishments, the accolades, like the amount of black people that actually went to school and went to college and wanted to better themselves and do things based on, based on the show and based on what he promoted. Like, you can't take that away. Those numbers and statistics and all those things will never go anywhere.
True that.
But they try to, diminish that or cast a bad light on that. And that's the one thing that I feel like, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. But I'm not here to judge anybody. I don't. That's between you and God and whatever else. I never saw anything. So I can't speak on it. I think that if someone, anyone, has done these things, then
It's,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
If you have done things that you should atone for,
Yeah.
or penance and whatever, then. But again, it's not my
speculation.
Yeah.
So, but I want to say this though. Even though it is horrible with that, Bill Cosby actually had an influence on me. He was actually one of the first black comedians that I saw, that I acknowledged. I was born in 1987, so the Cosby Show was still relevant in my upbringing. Even though I didn't know the full material, I knew exactly what he did. So it's tragic to see that, and even though it's speculation, it's tragic to witness and seeing that. And he's 81 years old, and it's a possibility that he's gonna go to jail, and it's sad. But let's try to move on to a better topic. So, how did you audition for Martin? So, first off, how did you meet Martin? How did you audition for the role of Cole Brown?
I had met Martin at a screening for his HBO special.
Okay. Okay.
Before the show, and we didn't really know each other. We just met,
Okay.
And they just had auditions. They had auditions for the role, and I went in and
Did what you did.
did what I did.
That CAP.
I just, I mean, it's God. It's all God. You know what I'm saying? But it's also being confident, and I think that was the thing at the time. I was super ready.
You was humble, but you was hungry, but you was ready too.
Yeah.
Because because everybody knew you from Cockroach. But
you know what it was? It was do the work and everything else will follow.
Because
and I went in there and just auditioned. And I literally flew into town, auditioned, and left. It wasn't like I even thought about it.
You wasn't even expecting to get it, right? You just wanted to audition and see what you got.
Not at all. I was already somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. And that actually, like, from your time on the Cosby Show, that actually prepared you for Martin, because even though you was known for both roles, everybody knows you more as Cole Brown compared to Cockroach, even though you was on both shows.
I just think it's a generational thing. It's a generational thing. Because you got even now you got the new millennials and new generation who are still fans of Martin, who still are being reintroduced to these, even the Cosby Show. So it's one of those things.
Two-part question. So, what was your favorite episode on the Martin Show, and how did you introduce the Colombian peckerhead?
I don't know. I just made it up.
You just made it up?
I just made it up on the spot. Yeah.
So, Carl Anthony Payne, you made it up. That was your improvisation.
I just made shit up.
Really?
I just make shit up. Yeah.
I can't do the other part.
I just made it shit up. I just made it up.
And what was your favorite episode?
I don't know. I mean, we have a lot of them. I think one of my favorite, just two come to mind. The Love Boat shit. I love.
Okay. But you and Tashina, right?
No, it was about the people from the Love Boat. That grew up watching. See what I'm saying? I'm a different generation. I'm watching. Love Boat was my shit. Fantasy Island, so it was like all these people that I had seen coming up. I was working with.
Yeah.
That's what. Another one was this episode we had did with Dragonfly Jones. When he was teaching us self-defense at Gina's house or Pam's house. And people don't know what had happened right before that. Like, he was doing the Dragonfly Jones stuff, and an accident happened where these things that were in his nostrils used to make his nostrils flare. They got stuck, and he was choking. And they thought he was doing Dragonfly Jones stuff, man. And they were laughing, but they didn't know he was literally.
Oh, he was really choking.
Yeah, man. And
wow.
It was one of those. It was one of those, because we used to joke a lot on set, but it was just, like, people always laugh at, like, the seriousness or near-death shit, but it was like, this dude was dying, and no one knew.
Wow. My favorite episode was the CD player.
Yeah.
The CD player where everybody was dressed in black.
Right.
Martin came out. I heard the stories that Martin actually wanted a real dog, but they didn't want to give him the real dog, so they gave him the stuffed dog. And he just, you know how Martin does. He just made it work. Yeah. Cole, sit down. Sit your $5 ass down before I make change.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
You know. Oh my
I didn't like that so much.
You didn't like that so much. So, what was your feelings with your best friend, Thomas Ford? How did that affect you when it passed away?
That was rough.
Because y'all had a lot of fun times on the set.
That was rough. He was my best friend in real life. It was rough because he was a good dude, man. But it was rough. I mean, I still there's times where I still like
miss him
forever.
Yeah.
Still get emotional. Still have those moments. Man, he was a really, really good guy. Like he was like everybody's big brother. You know?
And there's talks about doing a reboot. So what is that? Is that speculation? What's going on with that?
We're talking about it. We just want to make sure that we do it right.
Okay.
We want to make sure that whatever we do is done right, and we pay homage and honor the legacy.
All right. 2 more questions before we get out of here, Carl. So we know about Carl, the comedian and the actor, but what about Carl Payne, the family man? So you talk about that you have, beautiful wife. You got 4 sons. So talk about family life for a minute.
Yeah. It's great. I'm blessed.
It's great.
I have a good thing.
Yeah, you got a good thing.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
And last but not least, what advice would you give young comedians that are trying to step up the game and try to get into the business that you've been in for so many years?
Whether you're trying to be a comedian, an actor, anything in this industry, study the game. Study what the industry is right now. Do your homework, do your research, learn how to make yourself the product. You know what I'm saying? at the end of the day, it's a different day and time. Social media, all this other ways of all these things that I didn't have coming up. But the business side of it, so that you treat yourself as a brand, as a business. If you think long term, don't think short term. Protect your neck and stay hungry.
All right. Well, and also, describe 3 words that describes Carl Anthony Payne. What are 3 words to describe you?
Dope, dope, dope. No. 3 words that describe me. Man, they change every day. So we're gonna say 3 words that describe me today.
Okay.
Yeah, because I can't.
What's the first one?
Legacy.
Second one?
Purpose.
Third one?
Destiny.
All right. I think we're going to end it right there. Ladies and gentlemen, so ladies and gentlemen, if y'all guys don't have anything going on this weekend, we're going to have Mr. Carl Anthony Payne up here at the ACT Atlanta Comedy Theater on August 30th through September the 2nd. So you want to make sure that you get your tickets out there. It's going to be a wonderful show. You're definitely going to get your laugh.
Great
on.
weekend.
It's going to be a real great weekend.
Killed it tonight.
Yes, he did.
We killed it tonight.
Yes.
He messed up.
Yeah, I messed up on one thing, but we're going to make sure that we get you right. But Carl Anthony Payne, it was a pleasure interviewing you. This is the MJ, the D.O.A. The name is Juan, Majik Juan. And if you don't know, now you know.
Cole, you stupid.
With Majik Juan.